On Christmas morning, I woke up and saw a photo of my family in Cancun, using my car. I didn't cry. I simply sold the house they expected to inherit. 5 days later, I had 20 missed calls. I'm glad to have you here. Hold on a moment before we move forward. Let us know where in the world you're watching from. And if you're loving these stories, don't forget to hit subscribe. Tomorrow's episode is going to be absolutely mind-blowing. The phone screen glowed in the darkness of my bedroom. 6:14 a.m., Christmas Day. I'd been awake since 5:30, listening to the furnace rattle in the walls. At 68, sleep doesn't come easy anymore. Neither does silence. I reached for my phone out of habit. Kevin, my 14-year-old grandson, had been teaching me Instagram over Thanksgiving. "Grandma, you gotta stay connected," he'd said, setting up the account I never asked for. I'd resisted at first. What did a retired teacher need with social media? But Kevin's enthusiasm was infectious. The app opened to a bright grid of images. I scrolled past advertisements and inspirational quotes. And then I stopped. My thumb froze. There they were. All of them. Tom, my only son, shirtless in swim trunks, his arm around Diane. She wore a white bikini and oversized sunglasses. Rachel, 16, made a peace sign. Kevin stood slightly apart, but he was there. Behind them, palm trees swayed against blue sky. The caption read, "Family, Christmas, Cancun vibes, blessed, posted 4 hours ago." I sat up slowly, my knees cracking. Christmas. They were in Cancun. On Christmas morning. Nobody had told me. My eyes moved past the faces to the background. There, partially visible in the corner, was the silver bumper of a car. A Honda Accord. My Honda Accord. The 2019 model Tom had borrowed 8 months ago because his Mazda needed transmission work. "Just for a few weeks, Mom," he'd said. That was April. It was now December 25th. I got out of bed and walked to the window. My street was quiet. Houses dark except for Christmas lights. The Subaru Outback sat in my driveway, the older car Tom had convinced me to keep. "Better gas mileage for errands, Mom." I walked downstairs. The house smelled of nothing. No coffee brewing, no cinnamon rolls. I'd stopped making Christmas breakfast 3 years ago, when Tom and Diane started hosting at their place. Except this year, they decided to host in Mexico. In the kitchen, I filled the coffee maker with Folgers, Robert's brand. Some things you don't change? While the coffee brewed, I opened Instagram again on my phone. 847 likes, 43 comments. "So jealous. Beautiful family. Living your best life." I clicked on Diane's profile. More photos. The resort lobby. Cocktails with tiny umbrellas. Rachel by an infinity pool. Tom and Diane at dinner, candles between them. Posted yesterday. And the day before. They'd been there since at least December 22nd. 3 full days. Possibly more. I scrolled further back. November 28th. A screenshot of flight confirmations in her story archive. American Airlines. Portland to Cancun. Departure December 22nd, return January 2nd. 4 tickets, not 5, 4. The coffee maker beeped. I poured a cup, my hands steady despite the cold rage settling in my chest. I'd raised Tom alone after Robert's heart attack. Tom was 40 then, married to Diane for 3 years, already pulling away. But I'd told myself it was natural. Sons grow up. You can't hold on too tight. So I'd let go. I'd helped when they needed help. I'd paid for things when they couldn't afford them. I'd been the good mother, the woman who never complained. And they'd left me alone on Christmas morning while they drank margaritas in Cancun. I opened the drawer next to the refrigerator where I kept important papers. At the back, I found what I needed. A manila folder labeled Tom Expenses. Inside were copies of everything. Tuition payments for University of Oregon, $87,000 over 4 years. The check for $45,000 I'd written in 2015 for the down payment on their house. "Just a loan, Mom. We'll pay you back once Diane's business takes off." Diane's PR business had taken off apparently. Enough to afford Cancun, not enough to pay me back. Insurance bills for the Honda, $160 a month for 8 months. I'd been paying automatically, never questioning why Tom hadn't returned the car. At the bottom was a birthday card from Tom, last November. To the best mom in the world, thanks for always being there for us. Love, Tom. I closed the folder and finished my coffee. The sun was rising pale winter light across the kitchen floor. My phone buzzed. A text from Tom. "Merry Christmas, Mom. Hope you're having a good morning. We're thinking of you." I stared at the message for a long time. Then I deleted it without responding. I went upstairs to the guest bedroom I used as an office. The room still had Rachel's old twin bed from when she used to sleep over. That stopped when she turned 13. "She's too old for Grandma's house," Diane had explained. I opened the desk drawer and pulled out a file I'd been avoiding. Real estate comps. Jerry Blackwood, the agent from church, had dropped them off in September after I'd mentioned downsizing. My house at 2847 Oak Ridge Drive was worth between $340,000 and $365,000. 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, hardwood floors, updated kitchen. I'd bought it in 1992 for $145,000. Tom had grown up here. His height marks were still on the doorframe in the hallway, pencil lines from age 2 to 18. I'd repainted around them carefully every time. I picked up the phone and dialed Jerry's number. It rang 4 times. "Jerry, it's Margaret Sullivan." "Maggie, is everything okay? It's pretty early." "I need to sell the house. How soon can you come over?" Pause. "Today? It's Christmas. I know what day it is. Can you come or not? Give me an hour." I hung up and went back to Tom's Instagram. I saved the photo of my family in Cancun. Evidence. By the time Jerry knocked at 8:30 a.m., I'd showered, dressed in my wool pants, and the cardigan Rachel had given me 2 Christmases ago, and made a list. Jerry looked concerned. "Maggie, are you sure? Selling is a big decision. Maybe we should wait until after the holidays." "I don't need to talk it through. I need to sell it. Fast." Jerry set his briefcase on the kitchen table. "Okay. Given the market, I'd recommend listing at $349,900. "Fine. We'll need staging, minor repairs, fresh paint. I can have my team come after New Year's." "No. I want it listed this week. As is." His eyebrows rose. "This week? The market's dead between Christmas and New Year's." "Then we'll be the only listing." He studied me, then nodded. "All right. I'll need you to sign some paperwork. Maggie, has something happened?" I thought about the photo. My family in Cancun. My car in the frame. The Christmas I was spending alone. "Nothing's happened," I said. "I'm just ready for a change." After Jerry left, I walked through the house. The couch where Tom built blanket forts. The dining table where we'd eaten Sunday dinners for 30 years. Framed photos of Rachel and Kevin as babies. I stopped at Tom's college graduation picture, both of us smiling. I'd worked double shifts that year to cover his tuition. He'd graduated debt-free. "Thanks for everything, Mom," he'd said. "I couldn't have done it without you." I took the photo off the wall and placed it face down on the desk. My phone buzzed. Another text from Tom. "Wish you were here. The beach is amazing. We'll bring you something nice." I looked at the message for 5 seconds. Then I went to my dresser and opened the bottom drawer. Inside was Robert's wooden box. I found what I needed. The spare key to Tom's house on Maple Street. For emergencies. For watering plants. They'd never asked for it back. I slipped it into my pocket and grabbed my coat. The drive to Tom's house took 20 minutes. I parked on the street and walked to the front door. The key turned smoothly. Inside, everything was neat. Diane's work. I went straight to Tom's office. His desk was cluttered with papers, coffee mugs. I opened drawers. The bottom one was locked. I found a butter knife in the kitchen. The cheap lock popped open. Inside were manila envelopes. Medical bills. Rachel. College fund. Vacation 2024. I pulled out the vacation envelope. American Airlines tickets. Resort booking. December 22nd to January 2nd. Total cost, $8,400. And a handwritten note on hotel stationery in Diane's script. Flight itinerary. Don't mention to M. She'll just make it weird. M. Me. Margaret. I put everything back except the note. That I folded and placed in my coat pocket. When I got home, Jerry had emailed the listing agreement. I signed and sent it back within 5 minutes. By 2 p.m., my house was officially on the market. I made a turkey sandwich for Christmas dinner. The house was quiet except for the furnace and the clock. At 4 p.m., Tom called. I let it go to voicemail. He called again at 6, Greg, then 8, Liao. Each time I watched the phone and did nothing. At 10:30 p.m., a text appeared. Mom, are you okay? You're not answering. We're worried. I turned off my phone and went to bed. In the darkness, I thought about the note. Don't mention to Em, she'll just make it weird. Weird. That's what I was to them. Not Mom. Not Grandma. An inconvenience. The furnace rattled. I imagined Robert beside me. What do you think? I whispered. Am I doing the right thing? The house groaned, settling, and for the first time in 4 years, I thought I understood what it was trying to tell me. Tom called again on December 26th at 7:15 a.m. I was drinking coffee at the kitchen table, looking at the "For Sale" sign Jerry's team had installed in my front yard at dawn. The sign was white with blue lettering. Professional. Final. I answered on the 4th ring. Mom, thank God. We've been trying to reach you since yesterday. Are you okay? His voice had that edge of irritation disguised as concern. The same tone he used when I took too long at the grocery store, checkout, or forgot to text back within an hour. I'm fine, Tom. You didn't answer any of my calls or texts. We were worried something happened. I took a sip of coffee. I was busy. On Christmas? Doing what? Things around the house. A pause. I heard muffled voices in the background. Diane saying something I couldn't make out. Tom's hand covering the phone. Mom, listen. I know you're probably upset we didn't invite you on the trip. It was last minute. A deal Diane found online. The resort had a cancellation and we just jumped on it. 4 tickets, I said. What? The resort had a cancellation for 4 tickets, not 5. Another pause. Longer this time. Mom, don't be like this. We thought you'd be more comfortable at home. You don't even like flying. Remember when you went to visit Aunt Carol in Phoenix? You complained about your ears for a week. That was 12 years ago. Still, the point is, we made a family decision based on what we thought was best for everyone. A family decision. Without the family member, it concerned most. You took my car, I said. I borrowed your car 8 months ago, with your permission. For a few weeks, that's what you said. Tom sighed, the sound crackling through the phone. The Mazda's transmission is expensive to fix. I've been saving up. You're not using the Honda anyway. You prefer the Subaru. I prefer having a choice. Jesus, Mom, are we really going to do this? Fight about a car? We're on vacation. Can we please just enjoy the last few days without drama? Drama. That's what my hurt was to him. Drama. How much did the trip cost? I asked. What? Why does that matter? Just curious. Those resorts aren't cheap. It was a good deal. Like I said, a cancellation. Diane handled it. $8,400, I said. That's what the confirmation said, not including spending money. Silence. Complete silence. Even the background noise of the resort disappeared. How do you know that? Tom's voice had changed. Harder now. Suspicious. I found the papers. What papers? Where? In your house. Bottom drawer of your desk. You went through my house? His voice rose. You went into my house without permission and went through my private papers? I have a key. For emergencies. This wasn't an emergency. This was you snooping. I set my coffee cup down carefully. I also found Diane's note, the one that said not to mention the trip to M, so I wouldn't make it weird. The silence stretched so long I thought he'd hung up. Then Diane's voice came on, sharp and clear. Maggie, I think we need to have a conversation about boundaries. She'd taken the phone from Tom. I could picture her, standing in their resort room, perfectly styled even at 7 a.m., her face set in that expression of controlled patience she used when dealing with difficult clients. You entered our home without permission, Diane continued. You violated our privacy. That's completely inappropriate. I had a key for emergencies. This wasn't an emergency. This was you being paranoid and invasive. I saw the photo on Instagram. Christmas morning, all of you, in Cancun. And we're allowed to take vacations, Maggie. We work hard. We deserve a break. On Christmas. Yes, on Christmas. Holidays don't have to look the same every year. That's a very old-fashioned mindset. Old-fashioned? Another word for outdated, irrelevant, weird. You used my car, I said again. Diane laughed, actually laughed. The car Tom has been borrowing for months with your full knowledge and consent? That car? I expected him to return it. He will, when his Mazda is fixed. God, Maggie, you're acting like we stole something from you. We didn't kidnap your car and flee to Mexico. Tom has been driving it with your permission. The insurance is in your name because that's how you wanted it set up. That wasn't true. Tom had suggested keeping the insurance in my name because it was cheaper with my senior discount. Just temporary, Mom. Until I sort things out. The note said not to mention the trip to me, so I wouldn't make it weird, I said. Why would you write that? Because I knew you'd react exactly like this. Making it about you. Making us feel guilty for taking a vacation. You have a way of turning everything into a referendum on whether we love you enough. The words hit like a slap, clean and precise. That's not fair, I said quietly. Isn't it? Every time we make a decision that doesn't revolve around you, there's hurt feelings and passive-aggressive comments. We can't live our lives trying to manage your emotions, Maggie. We have our own family to think about. Our own family, as if I wasn't part of it. I paid for Tom's college, I said. All 4 years, $87,000. And that was very generous. Tom appreciates it, but that was years ago. You can't hold that over his head forever. I gave you $45,000 for your house down payment, which we fully intend to pay back when we're in a better financial position. We've told you that. When? It's been 8 years. Diane's voice cooled another degree. We're doing our best, Maggie. The economy has been difficult. Diane's business has had ups and downs. We have 2 kids to raise and educate. We can't just pull $45,000 out of thin air. But you can pull $8,100 out for a vacation in Cancun. That's different. That's about mental health, about keeping our marriage strong and giving our kids experiences. That's an investment in our family's well-being. I see. Do you? Because I don't think you do. I think you're stuck in this mindset where children owe their parents eternal gratitude and financial submission. Tom is 44 years old, Maggie. He's not your little boy anymore. He's a grown man with his own family and his own priorities. I heard Tom's voice in the background. Diane, that's enough. No, it's not enough. She needs to hear this. Maggie, I'm going to be very direct with you. This pattern of guilt and manipulation needs to stop. It's not healthy for anyone. I haven't manipulated anyone. Really? Going through our house without permission? Keeping receipts of every dollar you've ever spent on us? That's not manipulation? That's not keeping score? My chest felt tight. I kept receipts for my own records. Right. Your own records. That you just happened to bring up the moment you felt slighted. That's manipulation, Maggie, whether you want to admit it or not. Diane, give me the phone. Tom's voice again, closer now. She needs to understand. Give me the phone. Rustling sounds. Then Tom's voice, strained and tired. Mom, I'm sorry. Diane's stressed. We both are. This was supposed to be a relaxing vacation, and it's turned into a whole thing. I didn't turn it into anything. I know you didn't mean to, but going through our house, that was out of line. You have to see that. I wanted to understand. Understand what? Why you didn't tell me about the trip. Tom sighed. Because we knew it would be complicated. We knew you'd have feelings about it, and we just wanted to enjoy ourselves without worrying about managing everyone's emotions. Is that really so terrible? Managing everyone's emotions. Another way of saying my feelings were a burden. No, I said. It's not terrible. Good. So can we move past this? We'll be home on January 2nd. We'll come by, we'll talk. Everything will be fine. Sure, Tom. You sound weird. Are you okay? I'm fine. Mom, seriously. Are you okay? I said I'm fine. All right. Look, we have a snorkeling thing booked at 9. I have to go. But we'll talk when we get back, okay? Okay. Love you, Mom. Love you too. He hung up. I sat there with the phone in my hand, looking at the black screen. Love you. The words came so easily. Automatic. Meaningless. I pulled up my bank account on my laptop. The joint account I'd opened with Tom 10 years ago. For emergencies, Mom. So if anything happens to you, I can access funds quickly to help. I deposited $15,000 initially. Over the years, it had fluctuated. I'd add money when Tom mentioned needing help with something. Medical bills for the kids. Car repairs. That time the furnace broke in February, and they didn't have savings to cover it. The balance showed $2,600. I clicked on the transaction history. December 20th, 2 days before their flight to Cancun. A withdrawal of $12,400, transferred to an account ending in 7734. Diane's personal account. I recognized the number from when she'd asked me to deposit a check there once. 12 for you at $400. Gone. The emergency fund I'd maintained for a decade. Emptied without a word. I closed the laptop and went to the window. Jerry's for sale sign stood bright and clear in my front yard. Mrs. Henderson from next door was staring at it, her dog's leash in her hand, her mouth slightly open. My phone buzzed. A text from Diane. Just to be clear, that money in the joint account was for family emergencies. This trip was an emergency for our mental health. We needed it. I'm sure you understand. I didn't respond. Another text came through 30 seconds later. Also, you might want to think about downsizing. That house is too big for one person. All those stairs, the maintenance. Houses that size become a real burden as you get older. Just something to consider. I read the message 3 times. A burden, my house. The house where I'd raised Tom. Where Robert and I had built our life. Where every room held memories they couldn't see and didn't care about. Diane wasn't making a suggestion. She was making a threat. They wanted the house. They'd always wanted it. Worth at least $340,000. Probably more. Enough to pay off debts, fund more vacations, give them breathing room. And when I died, whenever that was, they expected to inherit it. Expected to sell it and split the money and move on with their lives without ever thinking about what those walls meant. I texted back. Already considering it. Thanks for the concern. She responded immediately. Good. Smart thinking. There are some great senior communities in the area. Much more practical. Senior communities. Where old people went to die. Managed and medicated and out of the way. I deleted the thread and opened my contacts. Scrolled to Jerry Blackwood. "Any interest yet?" I texted. His reply came fast. "2 showings scheduled for Friday. Market's picking up. Don't worry." I wasn't worried. I was certain. Tom and Diane would come home on January the 2nd expecting to talk things through, expecting me to apologize for going through their house, expecting everything to go back to normal, with me funding their lives, while they posted about being blessed. But by January the 2nd, my house would already be under contract, and they would have no idea until it was too late. New Year's Eve arrived cold and gray. I spent it alone in a house that no longer felt like mine. The Christmas decorations I'd put up in early December still hung in the windows, colored lights blinking on and off in patterns that hurt my eyes. I unplugged them at noon and left the cords hanging loose. The silence was different now. Before, it had been comfortable, the quiet of a life well lived, a space filled with memories. Now it felt hollow. Every room echoed. I'd received 3 more texts from Tom over the past few days. Updates about the trip. A photo of Rachel parasailing. Kevin eating street tacos. "Having an amazing time. Wish you could see this." I'd responded to none of them. Jerry had called twice with updates. The Friday showings had gone well. One couple seemed very interested. They're pre-approved for $350,000. I think we might get an offer by mid-January. "Good," I'd said. Just that. Good. On the afternoon of December 31st, I did something I'd been avoiding. I went through my financial records, all of them. Every bank statement, every credit card bill, every canceled check going back 10 years. I spread them across the dining room table, organizing them by year. The physical evidence of a decade spent supporting Tom and Diane, supporting their choices, their lives. 2015, $45,000 down payment on their house. The check I'd written after cashing out part of my retirement fund. Tom had cried when I gave it to him. "Mom, I don't know what to say. We'll pay you back. I promise." 2016, $3,200 for Rachel's braces. Diane's insurance didn't cover orthodontics. 2017, $5,800 for Tom's business course. "It'll help me get promoted, Mom. Investment in the future." 2018, $7,200. Various. Car repairs. Emergency vet bill for their dog. New water heater when theirs broke. 2019, $11,400. Robert's funeral expenses, which I'd covered. Tom had been between jobs and couldn't contribute. Then Rachel's school trip to Washington, D.C. Then new tires for the Mazda. 2020, $8,900. Pandemic year. Tom was furloughed for 4 months. I'd paid their rent twice and covered groceries on and off through the summer. 2021, $6,300. Kevin's summer camp. "All his friends are going, Mom. He'll feel left out." 2022, $1,400. Rachel's laptop for school. Tom's dental work. Kevin's basketball league fees and equipment. 2023, $9,200 so far. The Honda insurance, $1,336. Various groceries and utilities when they'd asked. Rachel's homecoming dress. Tom's new work clothes when he got the promotion. I added it up 3 times to make sure I hadn't made an error. $106,236 in 10 years. Not counting the $87,000 for Tom's college, which I'd paid before I started keeping detailed records. Nearly $200,000 total, given freely. Never asked back, never even acknowledged as anything more than what mothers do. I pulled up my retirement account on the laptop. $127,000, that was it. 35 years of teaching, reduced to 6 figures that needed to last however many years I had left. If I'd kept even half of what I'd given Tom, I'd have over $200,000. Comfortable, secure. I could have traveled, updated the house properly, had breathing room. Instead, I'd given it away to people who thought I was weird for having feelings about being excluded from Christmas. My credit card statement sat at the bottom of the pile. I'd been avoiding it, some instinct warning me. I opened the envelope and unfolded the paper. Balance, $4,847. I blinked at the number. My normal balance was around $800, paid off every month. I scrolled down the charges. December 18th, Nordstrom, 147. December the 19th, Apple Store, 199. December the 20th, Target 743s. December 21st, gas station near Tom's house, 60 Avonders. December 21st, restaurant near Tom's house, $312. All charges I hadn't made. All charges the day before, or the day of their trip to Cancun. I called the credit card company. The automated system offered me options. I pressed 0 repeatedly until a human voice answered. I need to dispute several charges on my account. The woman on the other end was efficient and kind. She pulled up my account. I see the charges in question. Do you have your card in your possession? I checked my wallet. The Visa was there, exactly where it should be. Yes, I have it. Do you know how these charges might have been made without your card? I thought about the spare key to Tom's house, the key I'd used to find the vacation documents, the key they'd given me years ago. They also had a key to my house. Someone used the card information without permission, I said. I'm very sorry to hear that. We take fraud seriously. I'll initiate a dispute on all charges you didn't authorize. You'll receive a new card in 7 to 10 business days. Thank you. Can you tell me who might have had access to your card information? I looked at the charges again. Nordstrom, the Apple Store, Target, Diane's favorite stores, Rachel's favorite stores, family, I said. The woman's voice softened. I'm very sorry. That's always the hardest kind of theft. We'll take care of this for you, Mrs. Sullivan. After I hung up, I sat at the dining room table surrounded by papers, evidence of years spent funding other people's lives while my own shrank smaller and smaller. The house creaked around me. The furnace kicked on. Outside, neighbors were starting their New Year's Eve celebrations. I heard laughter from the Hendersons' house, music from somewhere down the street. At 8 p.m., my phone rang. Kevin's name on the screen. I almost didn't answer. But it was Kevin, the one who'd taught me Instagram, the one who still seemed to see me as Grandma, not just an ATM. Hi, sweetheart. Grandma? His voice was bright, excited. Happy almost New Year. Happy almost New Year to you, too. I'm calling from the hotel room. Mom and Dad are at some adult dinner thing. Rachel's in the shower. I wanted to talk to you. That's sweet, honey. Are you mad at us? The question caught me off guard. What? About the trip. Dad said you were upset we didn't invite you. I told him we should have asked you to come, but he said the hotel room only had space for 4 people and you don't like flying anyway. 4 people. Always the same excuse. I'm not mad, Kevin. You didn't answer Dad's texts. You always answer his texts. I've been busy. Doing what? Good question. Discovering how little I matter. Counting the cost of unconditional love. Preparing to burn down everything they take for granted. Just things around the house, I said. Oh, well, I miss you. The trip is fun, but it's weird without you. Like Mom and Dad keep taking pictures for Instagram, but everything feels fake, you know. I know. And Rachel's being bratty because the Wi-Fi is slow. And Dad's on his phone a lot, even though this is supposed to be family time. And Mom keeps saying we're blessed and we need to post about it so her followers see. Sounds exhausting. Kind of, yeah. I'd rather be at your house eating your cookies and watching old movies. My chest tightened. Me too, sweetheart. When we get back, can I come over? Just me? Anytime you want. Cool. Okay, I gotta go. Rachel's yelling about the bathroom. Love you, Grandma. Love you too, Kevin. He hung up. I sat holding the phone, feeling the weight of that conversation. Kevin was 14, still young enough to miss his grandmother, still innocent enough to recognize fakeness when he saw it. But in 4 years he'd be 18. Would he still see me? Or would he grow into his parents' son, learning to view me as a resource instead of a person? I couldn't let that happen. Wouldn't. At 11:45 p.m., I poured myself a glass of Robert's whiskey. The bottle had been in the cabinet since he died, barely touched. I wasn't much of a drinker, but tonight felt like an exception. I took the glass to the front window and watched the neighborhood. Houses lit up, people visible through windows, celebrating. Together. At midnight, fireworks started. Illegal in Portland, but people set them off anyway. Bright bursts of color against the black sky. I raised my glass to the window. "Happy New Year, Robert." The house didn't answer. On January the 2nd, I received an email from Jerry. "Great news." The couple from the Friday showing made an offer. $340,000. All cash. Quick close. They want to move fast. Should we accept? I stared at the email. $340,000. Exactly the lower end of the estimate. No negotiation needed. They wanted it fast. I typed back, "Yes, accept it." His response came in seconds. "Excellent. I'll draw up the paperwork. Closing scheduled for mid-February. Congratulations, Maggie." Congratulations. As if I'd won something instead of surrendered it. Tom and Diane would be landing at PDX in 3 hours. They'd drive home to their rental house. They'd unpack. They'd probably order takeout, tired from travel. Rachel would complain about being back. Kevin would retreat to his room. And tomorrow, they'd text me. Ask to come by. Want to talk things through. By then, I'd have already contacted a lawyer. I pulled up Google and typed, "Elder Law Attorney, Portland, Oregon." Several results appeared. I clicked on the first one. Patricia Vance, attorney at law, specializing in elder rights, estate planning, and financial abuse. Financial abuse. The words sat heavy on the screen. I picked up the phone and dialed before I could change my mind. The voicemail clicked on. "You've reached the law office of Patricia Vance. We're closed for the New Year holiday, but we'll reopen January 3rd. Please leave a message." "My name is Margaret Sullivan. I need to discuss some family financial matters. I'd like to schedule a consultation as soon as possible." I left my number and hung up. Outside, the neighborhood was quiet again. The fireworks were done. The celebrations over. A new year had started, ready or not. I gathered all the financial papers from the dining room table and put them in a folder. Evidence, documentation, proof. Then I went upstairs and started packing. Patricia Vance's office was in a renovated Victorian on S.E. Hawthorne, painted sage green with white trim. I arrived 15 minutes early on January 3rd, sitting in my Subaru and watching people walk past with coffee cups and shopping bags. Normal people living normal lives. The receptionist led me to a conference room at 10 a.m. sharp. Patricia came in moments later, a woman in her mid-50s with silver hair cut short and reading glasses hanging from a chain around her neck. "Mrs. Sullivan, thank you for coming in. I'm Patricia Vance." We shook hands. Her grip was firm, professional. She sat across from me and opened a legal pad. "You mentioned family financial matters on your message. Why don't you tell me what's going on?" I'd rehearsed this in my head a dozen times, but sitting there facing a stranger, the words felt heavy and humiliating. "My son and his wife have been taking money from me for years. I gave it willingly at first, but now I'm not sure if I was really willing or just manipulated." Patricia's expression didn't change. "Tell me about the money, amounts, frequency, circumstances." I pulled out the folder I'd prepared. Bank statements, canceled checks, credit card bills. I slid it across the table. $106,000 over the past 10 years, not counting the $87,000 I paid for his college. And they just emptied a joint account we had, $12,400, without asking. and used my credit card without permission for almost $4,000. Patricia opened the folder and began reviewing the documents. She worked in silence, occasionally making notes. After 10 minutes, she looked up. "This is financial exploitation. Clear pattern of abuse. The joint account withdrawal is particularly problematic. Was your son authorized on that account?" "Yes. We opened it 10 years ago for emergencies." "Did he have written permission to withdraw funds for personal use?" "No, I thought it was for emergencies only. Medical bills, home repairs, actual emergencies." "A vacation to Cancun is not an emergency." Patricia made another note. "And the credit card charges?" "I have the card. They must have used the information from when they had access to my house." "Do they still have access?" I thought about the key. The key I'd used myself just days ago. "They have a spare key, for emergencies." "I recommend you change your locks immediately. Today, if possible." Patricia closed the folder. "Mrs. Sullivan, I need to ask you something directly. What do you want from this situation?" "I want them to understand they can't keep using me." "That's emotional. I'm asking about legal outcomes. Do you want to press charges for the unauthorized credit card use? Do you want to pursue repayment of the loans? Do you want to revoke their access to your accounts and property?" I hadn't thought about charges, about making it official, legal, public. I don't want to send my son to jail. "Then we focus on civil remedies and protection. First, we secure your assets, close or restrict the joint account, change locks, monitor all financial activity. Second, we document everything for potential future action. Third, we establish clear boundaries in writing." "I'm selling my house," I said. "They don't know yet." Patricia's eyebrows raised slightly. "They expect to inherit it? I think so. Yes. And you're selling it to prevent that?" "I'm selling it because I can't afford to maintain it on my retirement income while still funding their lifestyle." It wasn't entirely true, but it wasn't entirely false either. Patricia nodded slowly. "That's your right. It's your property. But I should warn you, this will likely cause significant family conflict." "It already has. They left me alone on Christmas and went to Cancun." "I see." Patricia made more notes. "Mrs. Sullivan, I want to be direct with you. Based on what you've shown me, you have legal options. We could pursue repayment. We could file reports about the credit card fraud. But these actions will destroy your relationship with your son, possibly permanently. You need to decide if that's a price you're willing to pay." I thought about Tom's voice on the phone. "Don't be like this, Mom." About Diane's threat. "Houses that size become a real burden. They already destroyed it," I said quietly. "I'm just accepting what's already true." Patricia studied me for a moment. "All right. Here's what we'll do today. I'll draft a letter to your son and daughter-in-law documenting the unauthorized withdrawals and credit card use. We'll demand repayment within 30 days. We'll also revoke their access to your property and accounts. This establishes a legal record without filing criminal charges. It gives them a chance to make it right while protecting you going forward." "Okay. And I'll refer you to a locksmith. Get those locks changed today." Patricia walked me through the paperwork. Authorization for her to act on my behalf. A detailed accounting of all funds given or taken. Contact information for Tom and Diane. When I signed the final document, my hand shook slightly. This was real now. Official. There was no pretending it was just a family misunderstanding. "One more thing," Patricia said as I stood to leave. "If you're selling your house, I recommend updating your will immediately. Make sure your assets go where you want them to go. If you die before this is resolved, your son inherits by default in most cases." "I'll do that. My office can handle estate planning if you'd like. We should schedule a follow-up appointment. We set a date for January 15th, 2 weeks away. Plenty of time for everything to fall apart. I left Patricia's office at 11:30 and drove straight to Jerry's real estate office. He was at his desk, on the phone, and waved me in when he saw me through the glass door. "Mrs. Sullivan, perfect timing. I was just about to call you. The buyers want to move even faster. They're offering to close in 3 weeks instead of mid-February, January 24th. Are you comfortable with that timeline? 3 weeks, 21 days to pack up 30 years of life. Yes, that works." Jerry grinned. "Excellent. They're thrilled. Cash buyers, no contingencies, quick close. This is as smooth as it gets. I'll have the final contracts ready for you to sign tomorrow. Can we do it today?" "Today? Well, I'd need to rush the paperwork, but if you're sure." "I'm sure." "All right then. Give me 2 hours. Come back at 2 p.m., and we'll make it official. I killed time at a nearby cafe, drinking coffee I didn't want and watching people come and go. At 1:45, my phone rang. Tom's number. I let it go to voicemail. He tried again at 1:52, then sent a text. "Mom, we're back. Can we come by tomorrow to talk? We brought you souvenirs." Souvenirs, like a keychain or a shot glass, could fix what they'd broken. I didn't respond. At 2 p.m., I was back in Jerry's office. He had the contracts ready, highlighted tabs marking where I needed to sign and initial. Standard purchase agreement, $340,000 purchase price. Closing date January 24th. Buyers are taking it as is, so no repairs needed. You're responsible for being fully moved out by closing day. I signed every page without reading the details. What did it matter? The house was gone either way. "Congratulations," Jerry said, shaking my hand. "The sign goes up tomorrow. Under contract. Then sold once we close. Actually, can you put the sold sign up now? Today?" Jerry frowned. "That's not standard practice. Usually we wait until closing." "I'll pay extra if needed. I want it up today." He studied my face, probably seeing something desperate there. "Okay, Maggie. I'll have my guys swing by this afternoon. Sign should be up by 5 p.m. Thank you." I drove home and found a locksmith company online. They could come tomorrow morning. $350 to rekey all the locks. I booked the appointment. At 4:30 p.m., Tom called again. I was sitting at the kitchen table drinking water when his name lit up my screen. This time I answered. "Mom, finally. We need to talk." "About what?" "About everything. About the trip. About you going through our house. About moving forward." "I'm busy tomorrow." "Friday, then. We'll come by Friday evening, around 6 p.m. "Fine. Are you okay? You sound strange." "I'm fine, Tom." "You don't sound fine. You sound angry." "I'm not angry. I'm just busy." "Doing what?" Through the window, I saw Jerry's white truck pull up. 2 men got out carrying a wooden sign. Red and white. Bold letters. "Sold." They walked to my front yard and began installing it in the ground, the same spot where the "For Sale" sign had been just yesterday. "Mom, are you there?" "I'm here." "What are you busy with?" The men finished installing the sign and drove away. The word "sold" stood bright and clear against the gray January sky. "Just things around the house," I said. "Okay. Well, we'll see you Friday. 6 p.m. Don't eat dinner. We'll bring takeout." "Sure." He hung up. I set the phone down and stared at the sign through my window. My phone buzzed with a text from Patricia's office. Letter sent via certified mail to Tom Sullivan and Diane Sullivan Porter. Should be delivered Friday, January 5th. Friday. The same day they were planning to come over with takeout and souvenirs. I went upstairs and started pulling boxes from the attic. Packing tape, markers, newspaper for wrapping fragile things. At 6:30 p.m., My phone rang. Unknown number. Mrs. Sullivan, this is Brad Chen from Pacific Software. I'm Tom's manager. My stomach dropped. Is he okay? Oh yes, he's fine. I'm calling because we had an issue today with a major account. The Reynolds account. Tom was the lead on it. They decided not to renew their contract. It was a $12,000 commission for Tom. We're all disappointed. I see. Tom mentioned some family stress. I wanted to reach out and make sure everything's all right. Tom's a valuable employee, but he's been distracted lately. His performance has slipped. I appreciate you calling. Tom and I will work through our family matters. Of course. Just wanted to touch base. Take care, Mrs. Sullivan. He hung up. I stood there processing. Tom had lost a $12,000 commission, the same amount Diane had taken from our joint account. Karma, immediate and precise. I looked around my kitchen, the place where I'd made breakfast for Tom every school day for 18 years, where Robert and I had shared our morning coffee ritual, where I'd cried alone the night he died. In 3 weeks it would belong to someone else, and Tom would never forgive me. I was counting on it. Tom's Honda pulled into my driveway at 5:47 p.m. on Friday, January 5th. 13 minutes early. Through the window, I watched him park behind the Subaru, Diane in the passenger seat checking her phone. They sat there for a moment, not moving. Then Tom looked up. His eyes found the sign. Sold. His mouth opened. He said something to Diane, gesturing at the yard. She looked up from her phone, her face changing from boredom to shock in seconds. Tom got out of the car fast, leaving the door open. He walked toward the sign like it might disappear if he stared hard enough. Diane followed, her heels clicking on the driveway. I opened the front door before they could knock. Mom! Tom's voice was tight. What is that? A sign. I can see it's a sign. Why does it say sold? Because I sold the house. Diane pushed past Tom into the entryway. You did what? I sold it. Closing is January 24th. You can't do that. Diane's voice rose. You can't just sell your house without telling anyone. It's my house. I can sell it whenever I want. Tom stood in the doorway, his face pale. Mom, this is insane. When did you decide this? Why didn't you talk to us? I decided Christmas morning, and I didn't talk to you because you were in Cancun. That's not fair. Tom stepped inside, closing the door behind him. You're punishing us for taking a vacation. I'm not punishing anyone. I'm making decisions about my own property. Diane's eyes swept the living room. Boxes were stacked against the walls, half-empty bookshelves, rolled-up rugs, the systematic dismantling of 3 decades. You're actually doing this. Her voice was flat. You're actually selling this house out of spite. Out of necessity. I can't afford to maintain it while funding your lifestyle. Funding our lifestyle? Diane's laugh was sharp. We don't ask you for money, Maggie. You offer it. You push it on us to feel needed. I offered help. You took advantage. Tom held up his hands. Okay, everyone calm down. Let's sit and talk about this like adults. There's nothing to talk about. I stayed standing. The house is sold. I'm moving into an apartment in the Pearl District. 2 bedrooms. Much more manageable. An apartment. Tom sank onto the couch, the only furniture left in the living room. Mom, you've lived in this house for 30 years. This is where Dad died, where I grew up. You can't just throw that away. I'm not throwing it away. I'm letting it go. There's a difference. What about us? Diane's voice hardened. Did you think about how this affects us? This house was supposed to be part of your estate, part of our family's future. Your family's future, not mine. You're being childish. Diane crossed her arms. You're upset about one vacation, and you're blowing up everyone's life over it. One vacation that cost $8,400, plus the $12,400 you took from our joint account without asking, plus the $3,047 you charged on my credit card without permission. Tom's head snapped up. What? Diane used my credit card. December 18th through 21st. Nordstrom, Apple Store, Target. Almost $4,000. That's a lie. Diane's face flushed. I never touched your credit card. I pulled out my phone and showed Tom the statement I'd saved as a screenshot. He stared at it, his expression unreadable. Diane? I didn't use her card. This is fraud. Someone stole her information. The charges were made at stores you shop at, on dates right before your trip, for amounts that match what you needed for vacation shopping. Diane's voice turned cold. You're accusing me of theft based on coincidence. That's defamation, Maggie. I could sue you. Go ahead. I've already reported it to the credit card company as fraud. They're investigating. Tom stood up, running his hand through his hair. The gesture so like Robert, it hurt. Mom, if Diane used your card, it was probably a mistake. She might have thought it was her own. These things happen. A mistake 4 times? At 4 different stores? I didn't use her fucking card. Diane's composure cracked. This is insane. You're making up stories to justify selling the house. You're trying to paint me as some criminal, when all I've ever done is try to build a relationship with you, despite your constant judgment and manipulation. My manipulation? You wrote a note that said not to tell me about the vacation so I wouldn't make it weird. Because you do make things weird. You guilt-trip Tom constantly. You keep score of every dollar you've ever spent on us. You act like we owe you something for being a mother. That's your job, Maggie. That's what parents do. They help their kids without expecting eternal gratitude. The doorbell rang. We all froze. I walked to the door and opened it. A postal worker stood there with a clipboard and a certified letter. Margaret Sullivan. Yes. Sign here, please. I signed. He handed me a thick envelope and left. I closed the door and looked at the return address. Patricia Vance, attorney at law. Tom noticed. What's that? A letter from my lawyer. Your lawyer? Tom's voice climbed. You hired a lawyer? I opened the envelope and pulled out 3 copies of the same letter. 1 addressed to me, 1 to Tom, 1 to Diane. This is a formal demand for repayment of funds withdrawn without authorization from our joint account. I read aloud. And restitution for fraudulent credit card charges. Total amount owed, $16,247. Payment due within 30 days. Diane snatched the letter from my hand. Her eyes scanned it, getting wider with each line. You're suing us. I'm demanding repayment for money taken without permission. We didn't take anything. That joint account was for family use. The credit card thing is your mistake, not mine. And now you're threatening us with legal action? Tom took the letter from Diane and read it himself. Mom, you can't be serious. This is family. We don't sue each other over money. We don't steal from each other either. I never stole from you. Tom's voice broke. Everything I took, you offered. Every dollar. You wanted to help. You said so yourself. I wanted to help my son, not fund luxury vacations while being excluded from holidays. 1 vacation. 1 time we didn't include you, and you're destroying everything. It wasn't 1 time, Tom. It's been years, slowly pushing me out, making me feel like an obligation instead of family. And now you want my house, too. We don't want your house. Tom's face was red now. We just thought, eventually, when you were gone, it would come to us. That's normal. That's how inheritance works. Not anymore. I'm selling it. The money will go into my retirement fund, and whatever's left when I die will go into a trust for Rachel and Kevin's education. Not to you, not to Diane, to your children. Diane's voice went quiet. Dangerous. You're cutting us out of your will. I'm protecting my grandchildren from their parents' poor financial planning. Tom, Diane turned to him. Are you hearing this? Your mother is stealing your inheritance. She's destroying your children's future because her feelings got hurt. I'm ensuring they have a future that doesn't depend on spending money they haven't earned. Tom! Diane's voice was a whip. Say something. Do something. She can't get away with this. Tom looked between us. His wife, his mother. I could see the calculation happening behind his eyes. The weighing of loyalties, the cost-benefit analysis. Mom. His voice was careful now. If we pay back the money, will you change your mind about the house? No. What if we apologize? Really apologize. For everything. The house is already sold, Tom. There's nothing to change. Diane grabbed Tom's arm. She's manipulating you, can't you see? She's using guilt to control you. This is what she's always done. She gives you things so you owe her, so you can never be free. I never wanted him to owe me. My voice was steady. I wanted him to love me. There's a difference. He does love you. Diane's eyes were bright with rage. But you're making it impossible. You're forcing him to choose between his wife and his mother. What kind of person does that? What kind of wife steals from her mother-in-law and then lies about it? I didn't steal anything. Then explain the charges, Diane. Explain the timing. Explain how my credit card information was used at your favorite stores on the exact days you were preparing for a vacation I wasn't invited to. Diane turned to Tom. Her voice dropped low. I can't do this anymore. I can't deal with her paranoia and accusations. Either you fix this, or I'm done. Done with what? Tom asked quietly. With her, with this toxic dynamic. With you letting your mother interfere in our marriage. You choose, Tom. Right now. Her or me. The room went silent. I could hear the furnace humming. A car passing outside. The clock ticking in the kitchen. Tom looked at me. His eyes were Robert's eyes. The same shape, the same color. But the warmth was gone. Mom, if you go through with this, if you sell this house and sue us and cut us out of your will, we're done. I won't let you see Rachel and Kevin. I won't call. I won't visit. You'll be alone. I'm already alone, Tom. You don't have to be. You're choosing this. You're choosing to burn everything down because you can't accept that your role in our lives has changed. You're not the center anymore. That's not cruelty. That's just life. Something inside me broke. Clean and final. Get out, Mom. Get out of my house, both of you. Diane grabbed her purse. Gladly. Enjoy your apartment, Maggie. Enjoy growing old alone. She walked out. Tom stood there for another moment, looking at me like he was trying to memorize my face. Or say goodbye. I'm sorry it came to this, he said quietly. So am I. He left. The door closed behind them. Through the window, I watched them get in the Honda. My Honda. The car I'd been paying insurance on for 8 months. They drove away. The red taillights disappeared down the street. I sat on the couch in my half-empty living room and waited to cry. The tears didn't come. Just a hollow ache where something used to be. My phone buzzed. A text from Kevin. Grandma, Dad says we can't see you anymore. I don't understand. What happened? I stared at the message. What could I tell him? That his parents had stolen from me? That his grandmother had finally stopped letting them? I typed back, It's complicated, sweetheart, but I love you. Always. His response came immediately. I love you too. This isn't fair. No, I thought. It wasn't fair. None of it was. But it was finally over. The closing happened on January 24th at 10 a.m. in a conference room that smelled of coffee and new carpet. I signed 23 documents, initialing each page while the buyers sat across from me, a young couple in their early 30s who kept smiling at each other. "We're so excited," the wife said. "It's our first house. We've been saving for years." "It's a good house," I told her. "Solid bones. The furnace can be temperamental in winter. Tap it twice on the left side if it stops working." She laughed, thinking I was joking. I wasn't. Jerry handed me a cashier's check, $318,640 after closing costs and commissions, more money than I'd ever held at one time. "Congratulations, Maggie," he said. "What's next for you?" "An apartment in the Pearl District. Moving in this weekend." The young couple exchanged glances. "You're downsizing?" the husband asked. "Retiring somewhere warm?" "Just simplifying." We shook hands. They took their keys. I took my check. The house at 2847 Oak Ridge Drive was no longer mine. I drove past it one last time on my way to the bank. The sold sign was gone, replaced with the young couple's car in the driveway. They were already unloading boxes, the wife directing placement while the husband carried furniture. I didn't stop, didn't slow down, just kept driving. At the bank, I deposited $218,000 into a high-yield savings account. The remaining $100,000 I split differently. $50,000 went into an educational trust managed by Patricia Vance's office, $25,000 for Rachel, $25,000 for Kevin. They couldn't access it until they turned 18, and even then only for tuition, books, housing related to education. "The parents can't touch it?" I'd asked Patricia when we set it up. "Not a dollar. It's legally protected. Even if they try to pressure the kids to sign it over, we've built in safeguards. The other $50,000 I kept liquid. For emergencies. Real ones. Mine. My apartment was on the 8th floor of a converted warehouse building. 1,000 square feet. 2 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city. Hardwood floors and granite countertops and a view of the Willamette River. It cost $185,000. I paid cash. The first night there, I sat on my new couch and looked at the empty walls. No family photos, no height marks on door frames, no memories of Robert or Tom or anyone else. Just clean white walls and possibility. I'd thrown away most of my furniture. Too big for the apartment. Too heavy with the past. I kept Robert's wooden box and my mother's quilt and 3 photo albums. Everything else went to Goodwill or the dump. Starting over at 68 wasn't romantic. It was exhausting, but it was mine. Tom didn't call for 3 weeks. No texts, no emails. Radio silence. Rachel blocked me on Instagram. Kevin didn't, but he stopped posting photos. His last message to me went unanswered when I wrote back. I tried not to think about them. Tried to focus on building routines in my new life. Morning coffee watching the sunrise over the river. Afternoon walks through the Pearl District. Evening news from my balcony. Patricia called on February 14th. The 30-day repayment deadline passed. Tom and Diane haven't responded to our demand letter. Do you want to pursue legal action? I thought about it. Court dates and depositions, and forcing Tom to explain to a judge why his wife had stolen from his mother. No, just close the joint account. File the police report for the credit card fraud, but don't pursue them for payment. Are you sure? You have a strong case. I'm sure. The point wasn't getting the money back. It was drawing a line. Understood. I'll handle the account closure and file the report. One more thing. I've finalized your new will. Everything goes into the educational trust for your grandchildren. Tom and Diane are explicitly excluded. Good. On March 1st, I was at the grocery store when I saw them. Tom and Diane in the produce section, arguing in low voices over a shopping cart. Diane looked thin, her face drawn. Tom looked tired. They didn't see me. I slipped into another aisle and finished shopping quickly, my heart pounding the entire time. That night, Kevin called from an unknown number. "Grandma! Kevin, whose phone is this?" "My friend Jake's. Mom took mine away because I kept trying to text you." His voice was hushed. "I miss you. I miss you too, sweetheart. Dad lost his job. He says it's your fault, that you stressed him out so much he couldn't focus." My chest tightened. "I'm sorry you're going through this. Mom and Dad fight all the time now, about money mostly. Mom wants to move to Arizona with some guy named Ryan, but Dad won't let her take us. Ryan, the name from Diane's phone, the affair that had probably been going on longer than any of us knew." "Are you okay?" I asked. "I guess. It's just weird. Everything fell apart so fast." He paused. "Did you really sell the house?" "Yes. Dad says you cut us out of your will, too, that we won't get anything when you die. You and Rachel will get money for college, a lot of it, but it's protected. Your parents can't touch it." "So you didn't cut us out, you cut them out?" "Yes." Silence. Then, "Good. They deserved it." We talked for 20 more minutes before Kevin had to go. He promised to call again when he could. I promised to always answer. On March 22nd, 3 months after I'd sold the house, Tom showed up at my apartment building. The front desk called up. "Mrs. Sullivan, you have a visitor. Tom Sullivan. Should I send him up?" I almost said no, almost told them to turn him away. "Yes, send him up. He looked worse in person than he had at the grocery store. His face was gaunt, his clothes rumpled. He'd lost weight he couldn't afford to lose." "Mom, Tom." We stood in my doorway, neither of us moving. Finally, I stepped aside and let him in. He looked around the apartment. The minimalist furniture, the empty walls, the view of the river. Nice place. It suits me. I lost my job last month. The stress, the distraction. My performance suffered and they let me go. Kevin told me. Of course he did. Tom sank onto my couch without asking. "Diane left last week. Took Rachel and moved to Phoenix with a guy she's been seeing. Filed for divorce. She wants full custody. I'm sorry. Are you?" His voice was bitter. "This is what you wanted, isn't it? To blow up our lives." "I wanted to stop being used. That's all." Tom put his head in his hands. "I'm losing everything. My wife, my daughter, my job, my mother. All because of one stupid vacation." "It wasn't one vacation, Tom. It was years of taking advantage. Years of treating me like an ATM. The vacation was just when I finally saw it clearly." "I never meant to take advantage." His voice cracked. "I just thought, you're my mom. You wanted to help. How was I supposed to know you were keeping score?" "I wasn't keeping score. I was documenting abuse." He looked up. "Abuse? You think I abused you?" "Financial exploitation is abuse." Patricia Vance explained it to me. "Elder abuse. It has a name." Tom's face crumpled. "I'm not an abuser. I'm your son. I made mistakes. I let Diane influence me. I should have stood up for you. I know that now. But calling me an abuser, that's too far, Mom. Then what would you call taking $12,400 without asking? Using my credit card without permission? Excluding me from Christmas and then lying about it? Mistakes. Bad decisions. Not abuse. The law disagrees." He stood up, agitated. "Is that why you're here? To punish me? To watch me fall apart and feel vindicated?" "I'm here because I had no choice. You and Diane backed me into a corner. We made you rich." His voice rose. "You sold the house for over $300. You're set for life. Meanwhile, I'm drowning. Can't make rent. Can't afford a lawyer for the custody battle. Kevin won't talk to Diane at all. Barely talks to me. And you're sitting in your nice new apartment enjoying your liberation. What do you want from me, Tom?" I don't know. He paced the living room. Help? Forgiveness? Acknowledgement that you went too far? I didn't go far enough. I should have stopped helping you years ago. He stopped pacing and looked at me directly. Diane was using my credit card too. Did you know that? She had access to everything. The joint account, your card information from when we'd grocery shop for you. All of it. She planned that vacation without telling me how much it cost. Booked it behind my back. I only found out the total when we were already there. Why are you telling me this? Because I need you to know I didn't want to hurt you. I was stupid, weak. I let my wife manipulate both of us. But I'm not the villain you think I am. I studied my son, the man who'd once been a boy I'd rocked to sleep, who'd cried in my arms when his father died, who'd promised to always take care of me. What do you want, Tom? A chance to rebuild, to show you I'm different without Diane. Kevin needs his grandmother. I need my mother. Not your money. Just you. How do I know this isn't manipulation, too? You don't. His voice was quiet. You just have to decide if you can risk trusting me again. We stood in silence. The sun set over the river, orange and pink bleeding across the sky. I'll think about it, I said finally. That's all I'm asking. He left without hugging me, without any promises, just the possibility hanging between us. After he was gone, I called Patricia Vance. Tom came by, said Diane was behind most of it, asked for a second chance. Do you believe him? I don't know. Part of me wants to. Part of me thinks it's another con. What does your gut tell you? I thought about Tom's face, the genuine pain there, the exhaustion, the brokenness, that he's finally seeing clearly. But that doesn't mean I can go back to how things were. You don't have to. You can build something new, with boundaries, with conditions, with self-respect at the foundation instead of guilt. How? Slowly, with supervision. Monthly lunches in public places. No money changes hands. No access to your home or accounts. You rebuild trust the way you'd rebuild anything broken, brick by brick. And if he proves himself, maybe someday, it resembles a relationship again. I looked at the photo albums I'd kept, opened the one from Tom's childhood. His gap-toothed smile at 7, his graduation at 18, his wedding at 31. Different versions of the same person. Some good, some lost, maybe some salvageable. I'll give him one lunch, I said. Next month, public place, 1 hour. We'll see what happens. That's reasonable. And Maggie? Yes. You did the right thing. Protecting yourself. Setting boundaries. That took courage most people never find. After we hung up, I went to my balcony and watched the city lights blink on one by one. Portland at night, alive and indifferent. I'd lost my house, lost my son. Maybe permanently. Lost the illusion of family I'd been clinging to. But I'd gained something too. Space to breathe, money of my own, a future that wasn't defined by other people's needs. Kevin called again that night. Dad came to see you. He did. Are you going to forgive him? I don't know yet. Maybe partially, with conditions. That's fair. He messed up bad. But he's better without Mom. Less mean. More like he used to be. We'll see. I'm coming to Portland for spring break. Friends' parents are driving me. Can I visit? Anytime. You always have a place here. Cool. Love you, Grandma. Love you too. I went to bed that night, uncertain. Not about what I'd done, but about what came next. Tom might change. Or he might revert. Kevin might stay close. Or he might grow distant like Rachel. But for the first time in decades, those outcomes didn't terrify me. I'd survived. I'd protected myself. I'd drawn the line, and whatever came next, I'd face it on my own terms. Not as someone's mother or grandmother or ATM. Just as Margaret Sullivan, finally free.